October 29th here, mobile mailbox money, all the Guajardo with Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. I'm here today with Mary Hampton.
Hey.
Mary, if you could just introduce yourself for the viewers that don't know you.
Of course, I'm Mary Hampton. I own Hampton Design and Closets. I'm so happy to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you.
Absolutely. Me and Mary met in Business Network International. They are a referral network marketing group here in Arizona, one of the largest groups in the nation, I think.
Sure.
As far as closed business, what we passed like $9 million this year?
That's crazy.
Big time.
A lot of people in there.
A lot of prolific business professionals in different industries, ultimately to bounce ideas off, get a feel of what's going on in the market, as well as having people you know, like, and trust in the business.
Absolutely. I agree. Some of my greatest friends and relationships have come out of there, and I've done a tremendous amount of business by being in it.
Absolutely. So, Mary, we're here on Mobile Mailbox Money.
I love it.
What's kind of the strategies you're offering out in the market? You know, you have a few different businesses. Love hearing women in real estate and business magnates here in Arizona. Maybe you could just touch on that lightly.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing, Alton, is that I love business, and I think that doing it and being in with partners that you really trust make the biggest difference. When I started in the business, it was all about flipping houses. I didn't know anything about flipping houses. Everything I learned was from either relationships that I built or YouTube, which, I mean, I literally learned everything about construction off of YouTube videos.
YouTube University has merit.
Exactly. And
It's free online. Listen.
fully. People getting started, they think that they have to have some big grand plan, and
Or
sometimes it's just
$10,000
education.
paid education.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely believe in doing the research and figuring it out, and that you'll figure it out along the way. And I think I've done that in all my businesses.
Yeah, you've been successful. You own a cabinet company, Hampton Design and Closets.
Yeah.
You're a GC, general contractor, and fix and flipping houses.
Totally.
Couple different strategies executed out in the market.
There's a market for everything. I think that the closet business is a luxury buy. So when the market's really, really, really good, you can capitalize on that and utilize that as a great business strategy. And I'm not flipping as much. You know, when the market's really, really good, you don't flip as much.
Hard to find
you
a deal.
have to figure out where your deals are going to come from.
For sure.
And, you know, those handbags don't buy themselves.
They don't. It'd be nice if they did. Yeah, it's important to diversify out in the market.
It does, for sure.
Right.
And so then also having the construction side of it, being able to keep the guys busy in between doing flips was really key for me, because I love long-standing relationships. All my guys have been with me 8, 9, 10 years, and there's not a lot of turnover that way. So I can keep them busy on all kinds of projects and have my hands kind of in everything.
You know, if they're not busy, they're going to go find another available opportunity at the end of the day. It's hard to keep those guys around. So, you know, knowing that, you know, you have a tried and true strategy with trusted business affiliates and a couple full-time people to execute out in the market.
Absolutely.
You have all those tools at your availability.
It really does make a huge difference. And I think that, you know, again, I mean, I drive home relationships just because I think once you've established a certain way that somebody works and how they show up and who they are, it makes it really easy to be able to sell them over and over and over again, especially in the market.
Repeat business and the power of relationships professionally, you know, that goes in spades.
Completely.
You can't execute and be great at what you do and not have any business relationships. You know, you're not going to go that far at the end of the day.
No, and, you know, you really need to be able, the only way, you know, I heard this somewhere, with one hand I pick myself up and with the other I pick somebody else up. And I think that there's been so many people in my life that have taken my hand and put me to the next level. And you can't do that. You cannot do every single area of your life by yourself and get to the levels that you would want to financially or personally.
You can try.
But it's hard. Like, believe me, I was very independent in the beginning, and then it was like, oh, wait, they know more than me.
Absolutely.
Or they can teach me something that's going to help me in the long run and make less mistakes. You know, we don't have to touch the stove to know it's hot. You know?
the path of least resistance.
Totally.
Finding mentorship in markets, not being the smartest person in the room, and if you are, you're in the wrong room at the end of the
Seriously.
day.
Gosh, that's like the greatest advice, really.
100%.
I think that the room you're in and the friends you keep also.
Absolutely.
Sometimes there's seasons for people.
For sure.
Not necessarily lifetime.
Sure.
And I think that when you're young, you have a hard time letting go of people and realizing that they're just literally an anchor or holding you back.
Absolutely.
As well as some people that you don't necessarily mesh with, but they're smarter than you. You
Right.
want those people in your life. I beg for them now. I have 5 good friends, but I want those 5 to just be powerhouses.
Yeah, no.
And way more successful than me.
Holding you accountable,
Completely.
putting you in uncomfortable situations. The power of uncomfortability, at the end of the day, that's where the bread's made.
Completely. In one of my business, the closet company, my tagline is create the box. It's always think outside the box is very well known, but to create it, you have to actually have a village of people in order to be able to really do what you do on a high level or on a scaling, level.
And making sure everyone's financially incentivized correctly.
Completely.
You want to be able to pay a solid either W-9 or 1099. You want to compensate the people around you. Why? Because they're going to stick around or bring you another deal or, buy an investment, at the end of the day because of the return.
Completely. So one thing that I think is really powerful and that I've learned is that people have different incentivized things. So
Sure.
The incentive of money is not always the case. I talk about my son and my son works for me. And
Shout out to Hunter Hatch.
Right? Hi, son. He's awesome and he's building businesses and he's doing all the right things.
He's on the track.
But he is a helper. It's not his end goal to make the most money or do the most in sales.
Absolutely.
He wants to help people.
Solve problems.
And me, it's money. I wanna impact people with the money I have.
Sure.
And so it's different,
Absolutely.
And it's not gouging people. I'm so fair.
100%.
But I love the art of the sale. I like to give somebody something that's better than what they have at a really great price, but close the deal. Where somebody else is about helping people, or somebody else may be about a different strategy, or saving. It's a completely different. But once you get that about your employees or about the people around you
And yourself.
completely, you know what your motivation is. Listen, you can throw tons and tons and tons of money at an employee that doesn't care about money. They care about their paid time off the 5 days a year or whatever, and so that's the thing that as a business owner, I think that over the years I've fine-tuned. Not every single person is the same. And, I think that that's the key of having success, is to actually really know the personality type and know what motivates people, because it's not going to be the same. It might not be a pizza party, or
Right.
it might not be a day off. It might be money, or it might be a concert, or it might be an experience
100%.
that they never would buy themselves,
Absolutely.
So I think that's the key.
They call that the little Timmy in sales. How do you find the little Timmy for that person? The case-specific situation that's going to move the needle for that individual.
I like that.
Whether it's a discount or some additional warranty, or they want a paid vacation. All of those are super valid, and to be aware of those is tough. Not everyone has that awareness.
For sure.
Out
I
in the
agree with
market.
that.
To be able to read people, how to solve that specific issue, ultimately to either make a sale or facilitate a solid employment program or a return for an individual, those are all super valid.
Completely. Yep, I totally agree. I think that sales 101 is just that, but combining it with what the motivation is for the people and solving a problem, and not just being the cheap. I'm not the cheapest in the valley. I'm not the. I'm
You
not
wouldn't
the
want to be
very-
either.
But I don't want that, right? They're not the client I want.
It's funny. It's a double-edged sword. It's tough because you're getting hit from the customer, like, hey, they may want a cheaper product at the end of the day or a cheaper price. But to know what your value is as a business, as well as who you're trying to accommodate to, the person that's going to buy for more is going to probably complain less. The cheaper client's going to end up making it an issue.
Well, the one thing that I live my practice by in all of my businesses is that I don't want to make my money on one deal. I want to make it on 5.
Sure.
And so that makes it so, 1, it diversifies myself, but 2, it then makes it where I don't have to sell so hard one person all the top $100,000 deal.
Sure.
I'll do $100,000 in a month, but it'll be on 5 people. And
sure.
So it makes it where it's like a more fair and even approach. And so, in everything you do, you have your hands in so many things, but there's 5 ways or 10 ways to make money with you, not just one.
Absolutely.
And so I think that that's the biggest thing. Somebody can come in with a certain dollar amount and still make money. Doesn't have to be the holy grail, the
sure.
very first, out
Absolutely.
the gate. There's definitely building that comes from that.
Yeah, offering that diversification for the customer and the investment client, the employee,
Totally.
having a full menu for someone to explore at the end of the day that shows your presence in the market. You understand the demand of specific price points and things of that nature. So, Mary, you've bought and sold a few residential properties.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just touch on that lightly.
Yeah. So,
or multiple, maybe more than a few.
Yeah. It's been a few in the Valley. I've done 14 since I moved here. So, yeah, they're awesome. And for me, it's always making sure that the house really warrants what I'm going to do. So when I'm buying, obviously you make your money when you buy, not when you sell it. And
100%.
so it's really clear to buy right for sure. And so I've done that. I've done really well on the ones that I've done. And I love deals that they've never been touched. They've never been remodeled before. So 20, 30-year-old, absolutely. So those are where you can make the most impact in that amount of space. And, you can do the same project for $20,000 as $100,000, but the gap is really where you're really looking. So your money is going to come from how much you can impact the space, and for me. And, if I have a 90-day window that I want to be out of that project, I want there to be enough margin that it's worth it. So absolutely. I can do one project and it be a $10,000 margin, the same exact kind of project, but it be a $50,000 margin. It's a no-brainer. For sure. And I no longer have, I have to take the ones that have, a bigger spread for sure.
Yeah. What other markets have you operated in? You got the local market in Arizona,
so
highly dynamic.
From Southern California. So done a couple of flips in Southern California, and then I did 4 in Texas. And that was just kind of a windfall, and it just worked out really well. And I didn't know anyone there, so it definitely was a process to figure it out. But look, you figure it out. And so that seemed to work fine. But I'm telling you, I spent every night of the first year of flipping on YouTube figuring out what I needed to know so that I wasn't going to do the work. Sure. But I didn't want to get
I don't think you swing a hammer.
Hey.
I don't swing a hammer.
I don't know if you see these.
I definitely don't swing a hammer either. So, it's important to know what you're good at, and not be a jack of all trades. There's the do-it-yourselfers that go and find a property and rehab it themselves.
Totally.
You're really just making your money as a contractor at the end of the day. Do you really want to do that?
Right.
So I think people want to get out of the 9 to 5,
for sure.
Buy their time back.
Totally.
And set themselves up for financial freedom, which is tough to do, and to get these plans and processes and your due diligence down, ultimately to facilitate a fix and flip strategy.
Totally.
Those are all extremely important.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it is really important. And I think that also if you are doing it, do something you love. So for me, flipping is my passion. I love flipping homes. And it matters that I'm there on site all the time and I'm really hands-on. as much as I'm not doing the work. And so that is worth it to me. That time investment is worth it to me because that's where I want to be, you know?
Yeah,
it definitely makes a big difference. So, you know, the advice in having your hands at everything, you pick and choose where your passion really lies and go, you know? I mean, I think that the focus and the drive comes, yes, from being diverse, but also having one thing. Closets for me is like my baby business, but I love it. Like I just get so much gratification out of it, and I get to help more and more people, and it's quick. You know, it's not something that's a huge remodel project that's a long-term play. So 3 weeks and we get divorced, you know, and it's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, you know, you got to have those different streams of income to get the food on the table.
Completely.
While you're a 60 or 90 day, fix and flip, you still got to have some bread on the side to eat. You know, got to keep the lights on.
Completely. Yeah, I definitely think that there's all kinds of way to make money. But
so how do you find your properties? Are you working through a wholesaler, or are you doing your own due diligence?
So I do my own due diligence. Usually it's me scouring, trying to find things that are either misrepresented in way of being remodeled and it's never been remodeled, or priced at a point where it's too high and priced out of the market, and then being able to explain it away as to why it should be this price versus what they've listed it at. And trying to have an education, with the real estate agent and with the homeowner as to why it is the price that I think it should be. So I've done that several times in some of the homes. Being on the market doesn't always mean that it's sellable or ready. And so I think
or market value.
Completely. Yeah. Being able to really do the due diligence of why the market doesn't warrant the price they have it at is the biggest thing. And that's where you'll find your gaps. You know, it really is that homeowner that takes the education and then lets it go.
But yeah, presenting an educated offer with analysis behind it.
Completely.
And some comps.
Totally.
And finding the pain point.
For sure.
At the end of the day, why is this home listed so long? The agent, is terrible, or
Completely.
It was priced wrong, or the property needs to be rehabbed. Those are all big factors.
Well, and sometimes you can go into, for me as a GC, it goes into my favor. Hey, look, if you want this price, well, then remodel it to this price. This is what it's going to cost you, which is more than what it's going to cost me to come in and do it.
How many times they pass on that?
Right?
Yeah, that take your price.
3 of the 14.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just at the Alternative Asset Summit, and Pace Morby was there, who is the king of creative finance.
Love it.
And we've talked recently about the want of potentially exiting a fix and flip strategy and becoming passive. Pace Morby, if you're unaware, his strategy is finding those pain points, but the individual may have a 3 to 5% mortgage. It's called a subject to purchase. So what that means is, in these situations where it may be an inflated price point or whatever it may be, and they're really stuck on that price, and say they have a 3 to 5% mortgage, did you know that you can assume that loan or purchase it subject to, which, there's some education about how to correctly execute those strategies. But why is that advantageous? Well, it allows that payment to be that much lower, and you come out of pocket, right, for closing fees and the balance between the price and the loan that they have. So, they pay the agent, pay the price between, and now you get a 3 to 5% mortgage where that property can cash flow now at a higher rate of return, providing that, if you go out and get a loan at 8-9%, your payment's going to be lower at 3 to 5. It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
So that provides, I think, you an avenue of when you're evaluating these properties, and I'd love to talk to you if these ever come up. Right. That's a big deal. There's millions of Americans with 3 to 5% mortgages. Why is that important? What provides an investor the availability to cash flow on an asset that wasn't even an option for them to begin with.
Totally.
They passed on it, not knowing that it was a potential opportunity, depending on someone's strategy. But also, it's a highly different market out with millions of Americans on 3 to 5% mortgages. I don't think the market's going to crash like people think it's going to happen. It's a different market than 2008. There's a lack of housing on the market, and millions of Americans are becoming accidental landlords, as well as they're locked into these rates. So you've got also now the institutional investment appetite at single family properties. Well, what does that equate to? That means that not all that many homes are going to come available, I believe.
Yeah.
And if they do,
BlackRock's been crazy.
It's been pretty low.
Yeah.
And we were blessed during COVID, right?
Totally.
But this is a median market. So, the homes on market are still below what average was, in historical representations, when people are sitting there, suffering from the fear mongering from CNN and,
right.
You know what that's coming from? That's coming from the institutions that are trying to buy your house.
100%.
At the end of the day, that's the truth. We're being manipulated of what's going on, and it's important to have people like and trust in the business to get real deal information and analytics out in the market. I attend ASREA, Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, regularly. Shout out to Mike Del Prete, Executive Director of ASREA. They have a Phoenix monthly meetup, and they provide analysis and tools at your availability, as well as other individuals actually operating here in the Valley. Hey, what'd you make on your flip? Hey, what is your rental rates going at? That's important to know.
So important. Education is power.
Absolutely.
Information is power. So, I think that advice, turn the news off and start finding the people that like and trust in the business that you want to go to.
Absolutely.
And stop taking advice from people that aren't doing what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing. That's going to be everyone's hiccup is listening to people that don't do it, the naysayers or the people that don't believe in you. I had no business being in flipping. I am telling you, living in California, taking properties in Texas. I didn't live in Texas. I flew back and forth to do them. And it was a little crazy, but also I knew that I had the ability to find the resources.
For sure.
That's it. That's all you need. There's all kinds of money. There's all kinds of resources. There's all kinds of education. And so that's the winning formula is to know it's out there and just to find it, and I think that people get stuck, paralyzed in what to do, or that I don't know enough, and that's not necessarily true.
You got to be a little crazy, to
tell your businesses you do, for sure.
When you got a lot of naysayers and uneducated opinions, everyone has an opinion.
For sure.
And everyone's opinion is valid, but is it an educated opinion?
Totally.
In what you're trying to go after? Because 9 times out of 10, when people are telling you not to do that, that's where the opportunity's at.
Completely.
At the end of the day, there's definitely risk executing in the market, but doing your due diligence and learning and educating from even free, education that's online, right. Getting mentors that actually know what they're doing to provide you the available assets to execute successfully out in the market. There's an element of out of your mind to
for sure.
Go out and do this.
A risk reward. We hear that all the time. 100%. Take the risk. I live by it. Do better, be better. So you just have to educate yourself over and over and over. And once it gets comfortable, take the next leap.
You got to mitigate that risk with your due diligence, education, and mentors.
Totally.
At the end of the day, Arizona is highly dynamic. You've been in the market of Arizona for
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
A lot of change in Arizona
really
in the past 10 years.
Completely.
Arizona's got full gaming now, so all the casinos have Vegas style gaming. You have Old Town Scottsdale going vertical. There's still cranes in Tempe.
I'm too old for Scottsdale. Old Town.
It's great to see the development of the market here in Arizona.
It's huge.
We're pretty blessed.
We are.
To see the turnaround and the fallout from like California, Washington, Seattle. Where are they moving?
Right here.
They're moving here to Arizona.
Totally. And it's a great spot to be. You get the best of everything literally within an hour. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We have some great destination spots with Sedona and all of that, Flagstaff, but also just right here in town. I mean, you don't get better.
100%.
You don't get better.
Yeah.
Travel in the summer.
So you've been visiting a few BNIs lately.
I have, yeah. BNI's been really good for my businesses. I joined BNI about 8.5 years ago. Done a tremendous amount of business through there.
How much business have you done through BNI specifically? Do you know that number?
I don't know it off the top of my head.
If you had to guess, is that half a million? Probably $4 million.
Been 8 years. Probably, like through BNI. Get a pretty good chunk through it. So
Love it.
I live by networking and I live by relationships, and
Absolutely.
you know, it's funny
in the
that
pudding.
the biggest referral partner I had is somebody that you wouldn't expect. And so that's the one thing I can tell you is that you're talking and evaluating who's going to be a really good fit for you. It's personality and people that like you. It's people that will talk about your business. It may not be the person that's in the roofing guy gave me the most business that I've had in all of BNI. He never walked in people's houses. You know, he was outside on the roof. And so it was a great referral partner for a long, long time. You know, $450,000, I think, in 1 year for that guy. And so, yeah, amazing.
Big time.
Right.
Listen, that changes
I love
lives.
that guy. Completely.
That literally changes lives.
Ask my kids.
Love that. So for individuals watching here today, Business Network International, we are part of the Connectors. We meet at Orange Tree every Wednesday. So if you're trying to come out and make connections, establish trades, build relationships, come out and visit. I've personally received about $500,000 in the past 2 years, so the proof
so awesome
is in the pudding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Mary Hampton, appreciate having you here today.
Thanks for having me on.
If individuals wanted to contact you, where would they do that?
Yeah, of course. So just on my website, Hampton Design and Closets, or Construction with a Twist.
That's closets.
Closets.
Thanks, Mary. Boom.